Been a crazy weekend off the coast of the Philippines. Just a week ago, we had a formation alert. We knew a typhoon was most likely going to develop, and even models hinting at a super typhoon. Extremely rare for this early in the season. We knew also that at the forecast a week ago, it looked as if 4 and 5 days out, it could possibly stay offshore and not make landfall in the Philippines. Fingers were crossed as everybody was watching this development for the first of the year. So let's take you to the satellite imagery, and you can see the footprint from space. I mean, it's massive off the central Philippines, the Visayas as they call it there. We're going to go back in time and let you take a look at this. Of course, again, it was a week ago, a formation alert, and then the forecast calling for typhoon development, and then out of nowhere, an incredible development. Rapid intensification, taking it from a tropical storm to a typhoon to a super typhoon. So massive in its size and so strong, it is now in the top 10 of all typhoons. But how about this? The first earliest equivalent Cat 5 in the month of April for all time in record keeping. It's the second earliest equivalent Cat 5 in a season. You've got to go back to January of 1953 when Hester developed. Extremely unusual. And is also the third equivalent Category 5 that we've had globally this year. 2 other cyclones in the South Pacific reached that status. It's no longer a super typhoon, and it's been moving extremely slowly the last 24 hours. But because it's so close to the land, large province of Samar province to the north in the Visayas, they are getting lashed with these winds and heavy amounts of rainfall. So far, we've been able to find some totals, but we know that there are some that have picked up 200 to 250 millimeters of rain, and with its slow movement, will continue to produce more downpours, and of course, the risk of flash flooding. That is a major concern. Then the concern was, well, would it get close to the coast of Luzon to the north? Models continue to keep it offshore, and with high pressure to the north, it'll undergo some wind shear, creating some weakening, which is good news, but also keeping the threat of landfall away from Taiwan and the Ryukyu Islands. Here's another model that shows how close. There were others earlier that even brought it more westward, but again, pretty good confidence in these models keeping this massive system offshore, which is extremely good news because it would have just produced incredible devastation when you have winds at this magnitude. I mean, this is a historic storm to say the least. Heavy rainfall will stay offshore as well as the risk. Obviously, they had a signal 1 and even a signal 2 for a while in the Philippines, but just hoping that word got out, obviously, to keep the system offshore, to let the fishermen know, and the fishing vessels and the merchant ships, obviously, are the major concern. But what a development over the weekend. Again, Surigao, what was a super typhoon, goes down in the top 10 strongest cyclones in history. We'll keep you updated as more information becomes available.